to create a space to help you make your way through the world.
When you gotta stop living up here, start living down here.
The way to do that is
safe space
for
depravity.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary folk. This is a Safe Space for Depravity podcast. I am Wellington Boyce.
And I'm Quinn Lemieux.
What is going on, my guy?
I'm on spring break as an adult. Life is fucking good right now.
Spring break.
Forever. Yeah, no, it's fucking great.
What is it like to actually have a spring break as an adult? Because I feel like beyond 21, it doesn't matter, or the idea of it has just completely disappeared from your head.
Well, I think for me, the main thing that I love about it so much is that it just gets to a point where you have like 12 years, or, you know, if you go to college, like 15 years of just living in this world where it's like, hey, December comes around and you just don't have to do anything for 2 weeks, and then spring rolls around and you get off a week, and then summer rolls around and you're off. So with my job, it's like I get to just live all the stuff that I've known for so much longer and not have to think about every single Monday is going to be like the Monday before it. So for me, it's great. Helps just keep my head clear. It's absolutely wonderful. But yeah, there's no like, I mean, it's pandemic too, but like there's no crazy trips. There's nothing crazy going on. I've been doing nothing for a while, and it's great to just wake up and not have shit to do.
It sounds like you favor the whole house arrest thing.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a wonderful time talking to all. No, I'm playing, but nah. I mean, it's a nice break, but I don't know, man. As an adult, it just honestly is the most refreshing thing to just say, hey, this week, not like you're taking vacation. There's just nothing going on, and guess what? There's not anything going on, so we just move on with our lives. Take some personal time, and do whatever it is we got to do. Nowadays it's doctor's appointment and looking up shit to buy on Craigslist. So I'm chilling.
This is true. Wait, so did you do anything for St. Patrick's Day?
No.
Okay. No, you didn't even try to get festive at home, add food coloring to your beer.
I had somebody ask me if I was wearing green, and I was like, I don't think I've left the house today. I think everything's gonna be fine for me.
See, I thought about it when it was yesterday or whatever, and the thing is, I was at work, and it's like 3 a.m, so I'm not even thinking about what day it is. It's just dark out. That's it. It's a day, and it's dark, and I'm up, and I'm clocked in. And some nigga at work is walking around in a green fucking blazer, top hat.
Black dude, white dude?
Black.
Wow.
Surprise. Yeah, nigga, I work in Atlanta, so black, green blazer. And I mean, it's not like a hunter green. I mean, nigga, this is green. Like broad daylight, this nigga would probably reflect in the sun.
Does he load trucks?
No, I think he's like a manager or something.
Of course. Because that top hat gets real old when you're just throwing boxes in the back of a truck.
Yeah. I mean, he works a little bit on the belt side of things, but mind you, I work in a warehouse. So, and he's just kind of has a radio and shit like that. But I mean, not only the green blazer, green top hat, but this nigga had buttons on his boots. I mean, the button covers, the shit that niggas used to wear in the 1920s to cover their shit. Yeah. He had it. And I was like, holy shit. And the guy who pointed it out at work, who works on my side, he's just like, yo, that nigga's a real MVP. I didn't even think about what today was, but he reminded me. And that's the hope that that's the hope that I hope to have when I'm older.
Yeah, I mean, it rolls 6 a.m. rolls around, sunrise is starting to happen. Just like top of the morning to you. It's like he's been waiting 4 hours on that joke. He's just been looking at his iPhone waiting for the sunrise to come. Oh, 7:20. Top of the morning to you. Like, all right, we got it.
Fuck off. We've been here for 5 hours. Chill out. I've already dripped at least a half gallon of sweat. Calm down.
And that's on your packages. That's on your packages.
So, anyway, speaking of being celebratory with things, last weekend, not only did I get my stimulus check on a Friday, but I got hit up to go out that same night, almost like 20 minutes after my stimulus hit. And you know what? I haven't been out in almost 2 years to like a bar. And so I figured, yeah, let's hang out with some friends from home. And my guy, everything they say about Atlanta is true within this pandemic because they don't give a fuck. I was so uncomfortable in a crowded, and it's not even like, oh, a few people are just kind of on top. Nigga, I mean, it's like college style crowded bar with 3 stories. I was appalled at the amount of people that weren't wearing masks in this crowded space.
When they were when the NBA had the bubble and they were like, hey, Clippers, Lou Will flew to Atlanta to get some chicken wings, and I don't know exactly what that's about. And everybody was like, we all know what it's about.
Yeah.
and where he was getting them and what he was doing. just lemon pepper, watching some ass shake.
And see, when I was going out, when we were walking to the bar, we walked by Cheetahs. I thought I saw Cheetahs before, but I guess not. And I was like, oh shit, this looks like a Vegas style strip club. That's how fucking fancy this shit looked on the outside. And I was like, that's Cheetahs? And I was like, oh my God, kind of want to go in because it looks like a restaurant. Like Gordon Ramsay's invested in this bitch.
15-year-old you is like, hey guys, you want to sit in the car and watch the strippers go back and forth?
You try and guess who's a stripper who's wearing a trench coat going in there.
ooh, her for sure.
No, look at her heels.
The funniest thing about a strip club to me is just the idea that like they all have a back room obviously where they change and everything, but it cracks me up just thinking about it like a like a sports locker room. Like there's a coach in there beforehand. And they're all just they got their jerseys hung up.
You got one homegirl like in her locker just like just listening to her AirPods just
listening to like Love in This Club, and then like you got another one who's just lacing up the boots and just like there's a trainer somewhere just spatting people up. Coach is like, all right, bring it in. Does his whole speech. All right, Candy. All right, we're gonna start off, and that's 4-1 formation. Cinnamon, you're gonna be flanking her, and then on the left, we're gonna have Starlight. Okay. All right. It's a big Tuesday, everybody. All right, so let's go out there, do what we do best, shake a little ass, make a little money. All right, tip money on 3.
take money on 3. Club going up on a what? Tuesday.
Remember, all right, everybody, what's the motto? 2 song minimum. All right, cool. All right, let's get out there.
I thought you were gonna go with, what's the motto? YOLO.
Every day. All right, guys. All right, ladies, let's have a good one tonight.
But it's funny because some coworkers actually went to the strip club this past weekend, and they were telling me about it. They went to Blue Flame, and I've heard about Blue Flame, and I'm just like, oh, cool. Like, how'd it go? And they're like, so there was a fake shooting. And I was like, oh, how was that? And she's just like, I don't understand how they have a fake shooting when you have security who pats you down, but apparently some guy walked in with a duffel bag. And I'm just like, oh.
Security guard's on a 50-50 play. Either he loses 50 G's in that interaction or he saves 2 lives. There's really no in between on a duffel bag coming into it.
Well, that's the thing. They're saying when everybody was moving around and running, one of the guys that they were with threw like probably $10 on a stripper's ass and goes, keep dancing. And she did. Yeah. And she continued to do it until like a security guard came by and like came up and chokehold her, like, come on, we got to get you out. They protected everybody that worked there, aka all the strippers. It was fuck everybody else, fuck all the customers. It was like protect the strippers at all costs.
Yo,
which I get it and I respect it.
Dude, speaking of speaking of strip clubs, there was this one time when I was in Montreal where something similar was going down, but Canadians don't have $1 bills, and
Bro, stop it.
I'm sitting back just watching the whole thing happen, and so you can see like the concern on somebody's face where like they got a jar, they are not a jar, they got a handful of dollar coins, and it was just like and then somebody was like, no, like you can go exchange that for American dollar bills at the front. Those are completely fine. Please do not put those anywhere near dancers.
My guy, I would have been in the same situation and I wouldn't even have thought of like making the face like, oh, what do I do with this? I would have just gone for it. I would have just gone for it for the sake of saying, yeah, I made it fucking hail in that bitch.
Yeah. There's nothing.
There was a few lacerations, but you know, she got her money.
There's nothing quite like the sound of like, oh yeah, some girl's dancing. Just you're like, what was that? It's like, oh, he just threw a $5 coin. So you got to go pay attention to him.
Have you ever heard the bit from Daniel Tosh, Cargo Pants Day? Where he's just like,
yeah,
I love, yeah. That's what I imagine. It's just like, oh, I'm going to the Montreal strip club. It's Cargo Pants Day, and you just you just hit the jackpot, motherfucker.
Yeah, just start throwing coins at somebody. But I was
Sounds
just
like fucking Sonic when he hits a spike.
I was crying thinking about some dude just going in there, just not knowing the decorum, and just like ting 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 ting. You're like, yo, dude, would you please stop? Like Starlight twisted an ankle. Like, you know, they don't have grip on those heels. They're specifically designed that way.
So listen, guys. I know you heard the news, but Starlight is out for the rest of the month due to MCL tear from slipping on a $5 Canadian dollar.
She just comes in the locker room like Booby Miles, just like, what a bug. They're like, don't worry, that scholarship's coming back for you.
I only know stripping. Why don't they want me to strip now? I just only know stripping, man.
All right, Candy, you're gonna be starting Booty Shaker from the rest of the season. Oh no, dude.
Dog. Fucking.
Oh my god. All right, that's probably enough.
Jesus.
Oh my god,
Jesus.
just the Chicago Bull theme song comes out and they all just like take their warm-ups off, just get to work.
They just start lubing up the pole and swinging around it in the warm-ups.
Standing at 5'5" from Alpharetta, Georgia, Cinnamon. You're like, oh boy. Here we go.
Starting point. Starting point. Jesus. Oh, but speaking of good times of strip clubs, because I assume it's a good time, and drinking out and about. I thought about the other day, someone brought up like Four Locos in high school and how like someone's just like, oh yeah, I had a Four Loko the other day. They're just not like how they used to be. You never had the experience of drinking Four?
Nah. So my original thing, and I think I was in like 7th grade when this happened, but I ended up going to like one of the bad girls' houses from school because I think she had like a little crush on me. So I was like, all right, cool. And she was in 8th grade, you know, balling. Wow. And so I head over there and she's sipping on a Sparks.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so like the precursor to Four Loko, which if anybody doesn't remember what Sparks was, don't worry, you didn't miss anything. But it was alcohol and energy drink, same thing as Four Loko mixed together. But it was, I think it came before Four Loko, and I just remember like they were just all passing around, like they were all passing around a Sparks like it was a 6-pack, and we were in the middle of the country somewhere, and I was just like, oh no, thank you. You know, I'm a dare kid, but I just remember that whole
I have the shirt to
situation.
prove
Just
it.
I just remember being over there and just thinking like, oh, I have to call my mom, and eventually she came and picked me up. But I just remember thinking like, ooh, those are the bad kids, huh?
Mom, come pick me up. They're out here drinking Sparks. What's that?
I don't know, and I don't like it, but I saw 4.5%, and I don't know what that means. Get me out of here right now.
But no, you had Sparks and Four Loko and Juice. The Joose. Nigga, the tall boy can that just said Joose. Juice.
Oh my god, man.
And
Well, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you one more time before you get to this, because I just remember the fact that like during that time, especially like mid 2000s, was like obviously you weren't getting drunk in middle school, but I'm sure you did this too. But we used to go to that spot around the corner from the movie theater and go up to the bar and order Monster energy drinks over at
Victoria?
Yeah, over at Victoria, and you remember how they had the restaurant.
No, I wasn't allowed to go in there. That was Gators
because
outside?
that was the post game.
I was never allowed to go inside. My mom always was outside after the movie was over to pick me up because she knew exactly what would go on if I walked into Gators.
The funny thing is, nothing was going on. We were all just grabbing energy drinks and going to the arcade and just like playing Need for Speed or whatever, Cruising USA or whatever game was back there.
Never went inside till this day.
So
my mom hated the idea.
So the funny part about that to me is like, you can be like, well, once you get to college, like, you start drinking and hanging out with the wrong crowd. It's like, I was with the wrong crowd. We were just doing other things. We were just getting hyped up on caffeine and going and shooting zombies in the back somewhere. So the attitude's been the same for a minute.
And by the time we got home, we couldn't go to bed. That was pretty much it. We'd get in trouble by our parents because we didn't go to sleep at 10 p.m.
Yeah, 11:30 rolls around. Your mom opens the door like, "Hey, Quinn, are you asleep?" And it just looks like an owl in the dark. Just see the whites of your eyes, just sitting up in bed,
just
like
on your like feet, just like knees to your chest. Just
Mom, my whole body is vibrating. I had 2 of those things, and they're meant for an adult. I'm not going to come down for quite some time.
Oh my god! But that's the thing. Like with the original Four Loko recipe, niggas were dying. There were stories constantly coming out saying like, "Oh, this kid drank 3 Four Lokos and died of a heart attack." And for some reason, stupid us in high school was like, "Yeah, let's drink it." And I remember it might have been the first time or second time. But I remember this is the first time I ever close to blacked out. I browned out, and I went to a buddy's house. He was having a bonfire, and a few people were over. I just got broken up with out of a relationship, or found out some girl was cheating on me. And so I'm drinking regular Busch Lights and Natural Lights and all that stuff, the works. And then someone's like, "Hey, we got to go to Gotham." If you remember that, go to Gotham to pick up some Four Lokos. And I was just like, okay, cool. And I might have been like 3-4 beers in, and I'm just like, okay, I'm feeling it. So I was like, yeah, of course, Four Lokos. So they go.
You talking about Gotham or the Mystic?
It was Gotham before Mystic.
Okay.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, these are places where us kids from our hometown and our general county would go to get alcohol because we knew they sold to underage people, but not on purpose. They just didn't ID. But so Anyways, they go to Gotham and then they bring them back. And so I have one. I think I had the orange one. They bought like 12 of them. So I've had an orange one. I was like, oh, this is good. Like, I'm going to start drinking these more. And I'm playing beer pong and still drinking it. And before I know it, by the end of it, I'm grabbing another one, a grape. And in the middle of a beer pong game, this is probably like within 30-minute time span, I'm pouring in a 12-cup game the grape Four Loko and then have a watermelon one on the side while I'm drinking to mix as a cup. Like, so they made a cup. I would take it, drink it, put it back down, and and just refill it. So playing like that at a young age where your tolerance is nowhere to be found, I got real intoxicated and I couldn't go home. I was going to go home, but I couldn't go home. So I found a way to not. I was like, oh, I'm going to stay at so-and-so's house tonight. And my mom's like, all right, cool. Just be back and I'll be there to pick you up in the morning. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And boy, first time drunk texting, first time barely throwing up really, and just not really remembering the night before. Mm-hmm. But I woke up. This is where the term frunk in a hook came from, and a fru bruise. So I wake up.
Well, a Kanye song, but yeah, that too.
Before Kanye came out with it, I said it. Just saying.
On accident.
Yeah. And so I wake up to text messages of me from me sending to the girl that cheated on me, like, oh, I love you. Da da da. I'm sorry. I haven't been this frunk in a hook. And me and my buddies were just having a fru bruise and shit like that. And dog. After that, no more Four Loko. Just never again. I felt awful. But I think if those original Four Loko, somewhere in this world, someone has the original Four Lokos.
Yes.
And if someone had it, I would drink it just to see if it's as bad as it was.
All right. What's crazier? Lil Xan having to go to the hospital for eating too many Flamin' Cheetos or dying from Four Loko?
Flamin' Cheetos, because that shit's bitch shit, bro. Like, straight up. Like, your stomach's on some pussy shit.
Can you just imagine, like, I mean, granted, he's rich, so...
My tummy hurts. What'd you do? I had too much hot Cheetos.
Diego, what's wrong?
Go take a fucking Pepto-Bismol, nigga. Get it the fuck out of my face. We got people who got shot. You fucking come in here with your face tatted up and you're complaining about a tummy ache?
Yeah, he's got a rap beef. He's got a rap beef with Chester Cheetah.
Nigga, like, worry about your liver. Like, why isn't your liver hurting? Your name is Little Xan. Your whole shit should be fucked up, but you're in here because the lining of your stomach is on some weak sauce shit.
Now, you say that, but you've also eaten too many sour Skittles, and that makes my mouth hurt.
You've experienced a warhead.
You know what that pain is like.
You've had Captain Crunch, just one bowl too many.
Listen, I can't say I've ever had, 8 bags of Cheetos and gave myself diverticulitis, but I will say that my mouth has been torn up after some sour candy.
But no, I've actually had Flamin' Hot Cheetos. This is a big fuck up on my part because I never experienced it. But like, I was hungry and I was like, oh, we're about to drink that day, and pregame. So
I don't like this already.
So I was like, okay, let me get some Flamin' Hot Cheetos. And I think I forgot what kind of beer, but maybe some Tall Boys. Yeah, I had a Rat Pack or a Tall Boys, and I was like, yeah, I'm hot shit, bro. And I'm going to eat my hot Cheetos and pregame. I thought.
Yeah.
I fucking thought.
Yeah, the Midwest Iowa special. Just a bag of Flamin' Hot Cheetos and a Tall Boy of beer.
Holy, my guy. My stomach bubbling. And by the time I made it to the bathroom, which was only like 4 steps away, that's broosh.
Yeah, I feel it.
And they're like, "Hey, Welly, we gotta go." I'm like, not today, not tonight, because asshole is on fire.
Once an episode, it's gonna come up. I'm gonna have to hear something about this once an episode.
Asshole is on fire. Now I knew what Busta Rhymes meant when he's like, "Light your ass on fire," because that's exactly what that shit did. But yeah.
Four Locos, am I right?
Yeah, so if they have Four Locos, if someone in this world has Four Loco, the original recipe cans, I'm sure they're at least going for $1,000.
Man, eBay is a special place. Like you want to just talk about the culture exchange. It all goes down on eBay. I don't want to hear anything about StockX. I don't want to hear anything about any other website. You know who came through when somebody saved some of that Szechuan sauce from 1990. And Rick and Morty came out, and they were like, "Oh my God, it's my time to shine." eBay was where they went. They didn't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
eBay is just waiting on all the people that forgot they had stuff to get rid of it at the right time.
I'm going to look it up. Four Loco original. Because now I'm curious. Original recipe, eBay.
Like it's a KFC order. Hey, yep, I'll have a Four Loko original recipe.
Original caffeinated is going for $14.99. Doable.
All right, well,
Very doable.
okay, well,
Lock that in.
Yeah. All right. Okay, it'll be here in 2 days. Oh, man.
Damn. But speaking of like stocks, so we're kind of gonna. There's no real easy way to segue, but I was thinking the other day where I was listening to Fetty Wap because, I enjoy Fetty Wap till this day. But I was like, man, if I invested in Fetty Wap, I would be really down bad right now. Like if I put stock, like if I had stocks in Fetty Wap's worth in 2020, I'd be filing for bankruptcy probably from that stock alone. So I asked this question. What music artists that you would like had completed like investments to that if you actually put a stock in them, where would you be at?
Okay. I never ask people to judge me on my winners. I ask them to judge me on my losers because I have so few. But for real, my portfolio would be looking nice. So I'll talk about some of the good ones and I'll talk about some of the bad ones. I was in super early on. Also, I was gonna tell you this just to update you on this. I was in like a Kohl's or like a Dillard's like a little while ago, and Maggie Rogers came on, and immediately I just thought about, I said this exact scenario was going down like 4 episodes ago, and that happened again. I was in early on Maggie Rogers again, not like a household name, but again, she's in stores. That was an early pickup, early investment on my part. Jack Harlow, before he became the biggest white rapper in the game, was early on him. Billie Eilish is going to be the one that's carrying my portfolio. I got a concert ticket to one of her shows in New York for $5. She was playing the 5:30 in the afternoon spot to a lineup that was going until midnight. So I was super early on that one, and she gave a free show in Brooklyn at the Apple store. And all you had to do was have an Apple phone, and you could register for it. And it was me, a whole bunch of teenage girls, and there was probably 25 people there. And it was just her doing an acoustic. Yeah, it was her doing an acoustic set with Phineas just in the middle of Apple Store Brooklyn. And I was like, I know why I'm here, and I'm happy about it. But man, is this a strange look? But on Jack Harlow and Billie Eilish alone, my portfolio would be high. Where I lose a lot of money over the years, Roscoe Dash. I lose a lot of money on Roscoe Dash. I definitely lose money on Fetty Wap. I lose money on another Young Money rapper who never became anything. Who went by the name of Short.
You better not fucking say gutta gutta.
No, not gutta gutta. I would lose a lot of money on Short Dog, young Elvis Presley. I really thought that he might come out with something at some point that could have been decent. And then who else? I mean, I said the Hinder thing. I said the Hinder thing. I would have lost some money on Hinder.
I'm gonna say one because it was a casualty. Lil Snoop. You would have lost money on Lil Snoop.
Lil Snoop.
Yeah. Wait, was it? Yeah, Lil Snoop.
Who was Lil Snoop? The girl?
Who was the kid that when we were in college got shot or something like that, and you were just like, "Yo, he's gonna be good," da 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 da, but he got shot. I know Lil Snoop also got shot. It was Lil Snoop.
I don't I don't remember riding for Lil Snoop, but maybe. I'm trying to think who else would I have been super early on. Those are probably like the biggest ones, and I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I really would have been down bad on. But I think for the most part, Billie Eilish and Jack Harlow would be carrying my whole portfolio, and I'd be doing pretty well. And especially when you consider a record label is, going 1 for 10 most of the time. I probably would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of like 2 for 15 or something like that.
Yeah, I would have lost big money with Fetty Wap because I would have completely invested in the whole Remy Boys brand, because I also would have had more stocks, if not than Fetty Wap in Monty, because I fucking loved Monty. And when Monty was in a song, I was like, this nigga's gonna go places.
Oh, I'm also gonna exclude. I'm gonna exclude Drake because I feel like everybody heard So Far Gone and was just like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the next big thing. Yeah. I think that stock got expensive before it became publicly available.
That was a life hack. Yeah, if you invested in that. But I would also say Asher Roth.
I was thinking, it's funny you say that because I was kind of thinking Asher Roth, but man, that whole I Love College song, like you really thought that could have turned into something, but I think like he got drowned out by a movement of frat rappers that came up all at the same time. The Huey Max, the Mike Studs, the
Mac Miller, like it was just everybody just coming up.
Okay, I don't know if Mac Miller counts, but I would count Mac Miller in my portfolio also, because like I remember hearing the High Life for the first time and thinking like, ooh, this is kind of good, and then I might have done.
Don't care how you view it. Mac Miller started out as a college frat rapper, whatever. Like that was it. He was a part of the brand. He just exceeded it later on and very quickly.
I will say though, if I did have stock in Mac Miller during the High Life, I would have dumped it after Blue Slide Park.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because like I was not expecting. I think after Blue Slide Park, it went into watching movies with the sound off, and it was just too different for me then.
It was the Juicy J, Loud, and
that mixtape.
Yeah, which I loved, and I probably would have bought back in. I would have been like, all right, I'm back in.
Yeah, once watching movies with the sound off came out, I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling this. And then I got a little older and went back to it, and I was like, okay, I really like this. And then ROM came out. Or not Rom. No. Good AM. Good AM came out, and I was like, oh my god, I didn't even know he came out with an album, but this shit kind of bumps.
Yeah, when I heard 100 grand whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Yeah,
buddy Omar was like, yo man, you haven't heard the new Mac Miller? And I was like, no, I love Mac Miller, but I haven't heard anything from him. And he's like, listen, and he put me on, and I was like, this is where he went.
Yeah. Sign
me back. Lock me in. I'm back in.
I got real back in when the Divine Feminine came out. I was like, okay, let me go back and see what I missed.
My mom even loved that album. Like I was listening to it when it dropped in her car.
I went to I was thinking about this the other day, and and honestly, I don't really know where you would put this as a win or a loss, which I think kind of tells you that I would just be buying the stock at 20 and having it at 21 in the future. But The Dream. That's been worth the same amount for 15 years. That has not gone up or down. He'll make an appearance, bop it, and then just move on for another 2 years. That stock has not moved.
Listen, my guy, I was obsessed with the Dream.
That album with Fabo, or that song with Fabo when he came out with, what was it, Loso's Way? Yeah, like that. I was like, oh man.
So listen, I got a funny story. I think you probably heard this because this is one of my like coming to LA stories. First time I ever flew out there, wasn't living there yet. Flew out there, did the whole thing, and it was like one of the last few days I was in town, and we go to a bar, and then my buddy is like, "Hey, there's an after party somewhere, and it's up in the hills." And I was like, "The hills? Like hills parties? Like that's a thing?" And he's like, "Yeah, we can go, but we got to be like roll super light." And so I got invited. Like 4 other people got invited, and we were told the address. And so we go Uber there or whatever, and we walk in this fucking hill mansion house, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And we go out by the pool. I'm walking. I see Michael Pina. Didn't know his name at the time, but I knew his face, and I was like, holy shit, that's that guy. See Michael Pina by the pool, and my buddy who got us the invite, he's just like, yeah, apparently Leo somewhere. And I'm like, Leonardo DiCaprio somewhere?
Benny Blanco is somewhere around there, just in his pajamas,
more
just
than
walking
fucking
around.
Likely. More than likely.
just Benny Blanco doing Benny Blanco shit, just walking around, just eating cereal out of the box, and you're like, whose house is this? And it's like, no, it is Benny's house. So you're like, God damn it. You're like, God damn it, dude.
Well, that's what I was told, that it was like Leo's house or something, but I didn't believe that. Like in retrospect now, I'm just like, that definitely wasn't. But so I'm sitting by the pool with Darius, and like I'm just like, yo, I'm freaking out because there's a lot of famous people here. And he goes, "You're fanboy," and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just freaking out. And so we're talking, and all of a sudden I get bumped from behind, and I'm like, wait, like who the fuck? I turn around and I look down, and it's the Dream. All five of him, and he like grabs me. He's like, "Oh man, my bad." And he was laughing at a joke to somebody, and I think it was another famous person. I
Probably Benny Blanco still.
I don't remember who, but I was just like, okay. Segue from there, because we leave that party because we get invited to go to Swayze's house, or Swayze's apartment.
Yeah.
That point, I was like, I can't. I can't, but I did. Yeah. And when I went there, my buddy who got us to all these parties introduced me to Swayze, and he didn't fucking know him. He didn't fucking know him, but I'm going to tell you who it is, Oscar. Yeah. So he's like, yo, this is my homeboy. He really likes your shit. And I was just like, yeah, man. Yeah. He's like, oh, cool. You want some Coke? What is it, 6 a.m.? Yeah, I'm a go. It's time for me to leave. It's time. The cool kids or the bad kids are out, Mom. I need you to come pick me up.
Yeah, yo, somebody's drinking Sparks. I think they have Pepsi or something. Somebody said something about soda. Get me out of here.
Yeah, like at that point, once I was just offered Coke, I was like, I need to go back to my hotel.
Can I get a Pepsi instead? All right, who brought this guy? I will say that reminds me too of one of your other sleeping next to Bryson Tiller stories. But I will say that Bryson Tiller.
Don't say it like that. Sleeping next to Bryson Tiller. Make me sound like a groupie.
We ain't gotta elaborate.
But that would have been a good investment that I would have had in stocks.
No. That would be. I was gonna say that would be my most irrational investment, because it would be one of those things like, hey, I bought this, love this album, and they're like, this isn't gonna go anywhere, right? And I'd be like, no. One day, you're gonna be like, dude, he will not tour. He is too socially anxious to tour. And it's like, no, you don't understand. I believe in this. And it's like, dude, there's no more ground left. You might get an album, but he's gonna be like Jay Electronica. You'll never see him. You're never gonna go see him in person.
Bro, like the whole, I'm gonna save the Bryson story because that's already had one story about famous person interaction, but the whole Bryson story is just wild to me. Where like we were in a studio and Fat Man Scoop said, listen to his song, and he goes, "You're gonna make it." And at that point, I was just like, "Oh, cool." 4 months later, I'm just like, Fat Man Scoop was right.
Turns out, Fat Man Scoop knows what he's talking about when it comes to music. Who would have thought?
He said, Bryson, throw your $100 bills like in the air now. Like that, it was wild to see that go down. And then I have that story to be like, yeah, you know who said it? Fat Man Scoop.
It's true.
And then people go, who?
Yeah, not that fucking asshole Jermaine Dupri.
So dead.
Oh man. But speaking about getting starstruck out in LA, you know, I'll be the first to admit that running around with your little Vine squad, I got to meet some interesting people. I saw Randy Jackson one time.
Yep.
Yeah, that was weird. And Soulja Boy.
But you know who was hosting that little event?
I thought it was Soulja Boy.
Soulja Boy, but the person you're gonna say,
Who?
Dirty Dom.
True. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought it to this point because that is what I was getting at. So looks like the you know, everybody's favorite squad got themselves in a little trouble on the old internets.
Dog, I honestly, out of anybody that was social media famous or that is social media famous or whatever, prospering, the Vlog Squad didn't see it happening. Never thought they would get hit with the cancel. I felt like there was potential if they had the wrong people around, but they were so good about never having like people that weren't like cool and just chill and friends. But I guess not. And they got exposed not only by Trisha Paytas, but the allegations that are just coming out of the woodworks with the dealings with Dirty Dom and underage girls and threesome. Like,
so let me talk about this from Skyview, just because, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I consume a lot of internet stuff, and a couple things struck me as like super odd. So, like, the first one that really kind of like hit home to me, and I still don't really know where I land with it, is where H3H3 comes into this whole thing, because
it's a little weird.
It's weird, and let me tell you why it's weird. You want to talk about a guy who spent made his entire career off of, like, he came up with the Max Mofo, Filthy Frank. Oh, I would have been early on Joji.
What was his fucking name? Glasses. Ibez.
Oh, iDubbbz? Yeah.
iDubbbz,
and you know, then it was H3H3. And so, like, for me, it's like, it's super weird to see him getting involved with this, but you can kind of see it, like, with his content over like the past 2 years is like morphed into podcasts, and he's no longer doing like videos the same way he used to. It's like, I get it, people grow. But the weird thing to me is that, like, he spent a long time just like lambasting on Trisha Paytas, who I think, regardless of what's being said now, has had a horrible reputation for being a decent human.
I wouldn't say a horrible reputation for being a decent human, but just a horrible reputation as far as being like stable and
like
listening to whatever she says may not always be credible. And that's the issue.
When like, I really don't know how to phrase the context of what I'm about to say, but there was a time where there was a lot being spoken about, you know, like, you know, trans rights and transitioning and everything. And all of a sudden, like, a video goes up about how she considers herself trans, and then just gives the entire explanation behind it. And it's like, it's those type of things where I'm like, okay, like, this is like, she's a clickbait monster.
But not only that, there was the trans right saying that she was trans or whatever. There was her being a Trump supporter, full on Trump supporter, being like, I love Trump, blah, 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 blah. And then also her talking shit about sex workers and
being a sex worker.
Yeah, while being a sex worker. But at that point, she wasn't even fully like she wasn't even out here with the OnlyFans. She was just like, that's not right, whatever. But she would also she would also be promoting a premium Snapchat and like a few vibrator videos and shit like that. But then would also talk shit and down to like porn stars and cam girls.
So there's that whole side of things. And so now to see her like buddied up and like having a podcast with like H3 is like super weird to me. And so she's dating his wife's brother.
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah, Moses. So it's like, to me, it's like that whole situation. And again, I don't really know what I think about it. It's just weird to see him sticking his beak into this whole thing. Just because I don't really understand like what
he's so invested.
He's real. But it's like messy invested. It's not like I have my stuff put together and here's all of the things that I've heard. It's like he just likes to egg it on.
He's being a fucking
he is being very keen about the whole thing. So like that's the weird part to me. The other thing about it is I watched the video yesterday, the David Dobrik video yesterday, and like if anybody's gonna look at that and think like, oh, like this was like he dodged all of this, it's like, I mean, listen, this could be a court case. He advised a lawyer and then said some stuff. Like, it's not hard to figure out that, like, this is not, I'm going to tell my whole story and you guys can sift it out. It's literally like, if this goes to trial, then we will figure all that stuff out. But here's what I'm going to say in the meantime, because this stuff is hitting fever pitch. On the issue of Seth, he has not left a good impression to give himself a whole lot of credibility on this, and that's not to say that nothing happened, but that is to say
David
Seth.
Yeah,
like okay. It's just I'm not saying that like what he described doesn't happen the way that he describes it, but like that whole side of the crew of that spawned off of like all of David's fame and stuff has been very cloudy.
Bro, they were leechers in the sense of the word. Like the thing is, I was there, not there in like the vlogs or whatever, but like like behind the scenes, I guess, if you want to say, like going out to parties and bumping into Dirty Dom and the whole vlog squad. Because like nigga, we came up, aside from like Dirty Dom, like we came up on Vine. Like David, cool with David, cool with Liza, everybody. Like we came up from that shit. We've all been friends with prior to that kind of fame that they're in. But I remember being at a party and Seth was there, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. He's that random black kid that they threw in, that they finally decided to throw in a token, where I was just like, okay, good for them. But I see the aim. Like I pick up like game recognized game. But yeah, and he's at this party or whatever, and out of nowhere, I remember like having an interaction like by a bathroom, and he goes, "You know who the fuck I am? Like I'm fucking famous. I'm with David Dobrik." David's not at this party.
Yeah,
David's not there. David never really went out because I don't know. He was smart enough to not go out and drink and all that stuff during the time of him working. But he was just like, I'm with David Dobrik. Like, I'm famous. And at that point, I was like, I hate this term, but immediately, clout chaser. I was like, that's David or whatever could have gotten, or Dom got invested with some terrible random person who now has a taste of like pseudo fame and is just rolling with it. It's like, I got to do whatever I got to do to stay relevant. And it's just,
here's where it's messy for me, is that like the whole context behind all of that is still that like people who are not trustworthy or not necessarily doing what a lot of other people would, assume to be the right things, still have situations like that come up. And that's not, and again, I want to preface this with like, that's not to say that I, am on one side or the other. It's just that from the top looking down, you have a whole bunch of very questionable people on one side of it. And this is the first time another side has gotten questioned on this, but that stuff happens all the time. That's literally the people, the people who don't have the best image have stuff like that happen to them by people who are squeaky clean. So it's just a really weird situation because of just how unbelievably messy it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm not here, like you said, to pick a side or whatever, because David has some shit to work on. Because there's aside from the few things that we talked about, there was, I guess, an episode on Views that Ethan was going in talking about how he was saying anti-Semitic comments, like where he was growing up in high school, and he had a teacher making Jew jokes with Jason. Which is kind of like that situation where it's like, oh, I have a black friend and he lets me say the N-word kind of thing. And it's just like, yeah, but no one asked. Well, no one asked. No one wants you to do it.
And it's super weird too, like not recognizing that it's like a public forum. So it's like whatever agreement that you have with whatever other friend that you have in the privacy of both of your own homes is whatever, it's whatever you guys have decided. But you are literally speaking to a whole bunch of people that don't don't know what's going on.
Nigga, you are literally the biggest fucking YouTuber in the last 5 years, top 5, 10, whatever have you. And you're getting on your podcast that is probably streaming at least 150 something thousand listens. It's somewhere in that range. And you're talking about things that, like, it sounds weird, bro. Like,
yeah, like
you're open about it and it sounds fun and whatever, but that's the thing where that world of vlogging where they're like, all right, we got bits, we got jokes, we got this, gets jumbled up with streaming over to a podcast form where you're like, oh, I'm free form. Like, this is us hanging out. There's the vlogs, which is business, but now we're just talking and bullshitting like in the comfort of our home. So I'm gonna treat it as such. Like that comfortability of doing a vlog or a podcast, you're not thinking about cameras on me.
All right, so two things I want to bring up because I think they're both important. Number one is like, I don't like when people use the term like, oh, well, he's a young kid, he's made some mistakes. It's like, yeah, that stuff happens and people grow up, is what it is. But like, this dude is, somebody that went out to LA at 18 and like has just lived for most of his adult life or all of his adult life, like out there, and hasn't experienced the world and hasn't seen stuff and doesn't know really any better because you got so famous and having a lot of people who just always are hyped about whatever you're doing doesn't really take a lot of time for self-growth and like ability to see other perspectives or be worldly and stuff. So like from that perspective, it's like it sucks for him as a person, because regardless of whether or not he's at fault, is that he is definitely like not the person he could be with a whole lot of experiences, and that comes down to visa issues, that comes down to a whole lot of other things that could have helped him grow. But the damage that he can inflict is very real, and he is responsible for all of that. So it's tough. I mean, it's a tough situation. I kind of wish him the best. But the second point that I was going to bring up is, I think you bring up a good point in like, yeah, hey, this is a whole new environment. And again, like, they do make cuts within that podcast, which, it's not something you're ever going to get here. But like,
this is as raw as it gets.
Yeah. You take the Myers Leonard thing, for example. I mean, listen, you're streaming, playing video games, and then you come out with a slur like that. And it's like, you forget that you're online with 1 million people, and him saying, yeah, I didn't know what the word meant, blah blah blah. It's like, number one, you played for the Miami Heat, like, there's the owner is Jewish, so
bro, it's Miami.
Yeah,
there's a specific time of the year where Passover, Miami has an influence of, or not influence, but influx of Israelis and all that stuff just celebrating Passover. So yes, you fucking do.
Yeah, 1,000%.
But like, secondly, oh, I didn't know. I hate that excuse. The I didn't know is like, oh, if I did know, I wouldn't have said it, but if it wasn't in front of a camera on live or whatever,
exactly.
I would still be doing it. Like, that's how you get yourself fucking caught up, my guy. You said you didn't know, but you're still consciously doing it outside of it or in the comforts of the realms that you feel safe to say shit like that.
Yeah, and everybody saw him load the clip and pick a word. And, I'm not going to speculate on what word he opted out of, but he opted out of something and chose another word.
The timeless one. The timeless Xbox Live word that I grew up at 12 years old hearing all the time. And then when I would say, hey, watch your mouth, I'm black, they'd be like, shut up. You're a kid.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. I mean, that's definitely one of those things where it's like, that's... You got caught up, and now you have to play for the Thunder. So you. Oh,
so he's off.
He got traded.
completely.
Oh yeah, he got traded.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they sent him to Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, apparently it's easier to hurl slurs in Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, we welcome it. We welcome it.
Dude, and it's funny too because his wife is like relatively got a big following on TikTok, and it's just
I thought you were gonna say it was Jewish. I was gonna be like,
no.
I was like, whoa.
No, she does like TikToks where it's like a week in the life of an NBA wife, and you're like, how was your week? how did this one go? I can't imagine this was a lot of fun.
You doing all right?
Yeah, everything good over there. But hey, you know what? As long as we're on the subject of racist topics, Steven Crowder dropping a bomb earlier this week.
Bro, this man acted like he was on a fucking stand-up stage with how he was going. Like it was unreal with the I guess the black scent he was using, the outdated black scent. Like, we like fried chicken. Like,
yeah. And the way that it starts off too,
what?
like everybody knows that Steven Crowder is a piece of shit. I don't even know if that's like politically controversial at this point, but
no,
the way that he starts off,
when you sit out in front of college like dorms and shit like that, having a sign that says racism isn't real, prove me wrong, or whatever, like anti-Semitic shit or whatever is wrong, is not right, or is not wrong, like Nazis don't exist. Like, nigga, fuck you.
Yeah.
Just fuck you.
But the way, so it's like a 2-minute clip with him and the rest of the clan. I mean, his co-host, and
Nice.
and it starts off with so Joe Biden passed a $20 billion subsidy for people of colored farmers, and I was just like, oh God, here we go. Like, everybody grab your seatbelts, because there's no way it gets better from what he just said out loud into a microphone in a studio where he makes all of his money, and then proceeded to just it was just unbelievable. It was one of those things like in Weirdo, in the Donald Glover stand-up, like, you can say those words in that order
and the people police don't come down like, oh, I'm sorry, this is a demon, just take you back to hell.
Yeah, this is a demon, we missed one. And then just, I mean, I was just flabbergasted. And like, to be honest, not like it's surprising, because we all know who he is, or if you don't know who he is, don't bother figuring it out. But like, it was just one of those things where you're like, oh wow, so this is really where we're at right now. Like, we're just letting it all fly.
Like, you're the man that has the same arguments with other people saying how racism isn't alive in America today. Like, you stand by that point and have other people telling you that it is, but you're like, no, I don't believe so. I think it's been much better since the Civil Rights Acts and all that stuff. And you get on your fucking whatever radio show and do that bullshit. Like, my guy, like, you're fucking tone deaf at this point. It's like he watched the Chappelle Show skit when the reparations came in. It seems like he watched that in 2021 and was like, oh, this is a funny bit. I'm going to put my own twist and say it on my radio. That's exactly what he did, where it's like the stereotypical black folks, stocks and KFC and whatever is up and all that shit. Like, he just went on with the whole Hennessy outlet and just meth. First of all, nigga, Black
No,
folks
no,
don't
no, no,
do-
nah. That wasn't that. What he was saying was that like what would be the difference between like giving subsidies to white farmers and black farmers, and then he said something along the lines of like the joke in his mind was black farmers would plant Hennessy trees and white farmers would plant meth trees.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
either way.
it was. I mean, again, it was just stupid shit. But like,
Yeah.
it was like, what? Like, where are we? Like, how you have sponsors? Like, how does it get to this point? I know. We
How
don't
did
have
you make Alex Jones look good?
dude. I mean,
How did you make Alex Jones look good for those 2 minutes?
man, Hassan Piker said something a long time ago that I really resonated with, and it was like, I really miss Alex Jones, and everybody was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, this used to be such a great form of entertainment, and then people started taking it seriously. And I was like, oh, that's so true. He is so funny if you just think that it's just all for fun.
If it's all like satire.
Yeah, if it's all just like, oh my God, this is a guy cosplaying somebody who is losing their mind. This is really like highbrow, ridiculous Andy Kaufman shit.
Yeah.
And now he's just banned off the internet, and we don't get the joy of getting of getting to hear him call Hassan Piker bitch tits anymore, and it's so upsetting to so many people.
The fact is he like gets on a tangent. My favorite clip is like he's just like going off shit, and then I think Joe Rogan asked, and he's like, "You all right?" And then someone like cuts it, and he goes, "I'm a little," with the R word. He's like, "I'm a little." It's just like, what?
Yeah. No. Come on, Eddie Bravo. Choke me out right now.
Listen, motherfucker.
This is a family show. I'm sorry. I gotta apologize. This is a family show.
Where are we at?
Buck 2, and this was the messy episode, everybody. But
We've
I've
gotten a lot worse. I feel like we were very civil with this.
yeah,
As much as we could.
I mean, I hope so. And again, I would just like to reiterate that this is all of this stuff is messy topics, and there's a lot going on and none of it's clear, and that's how life goes. You just got to treat people with respect and do the right thing, and you'll be fine most of the time. And believe the people who say things like that, because again, most of that stuff doesn't come from nowhere. You just got to you got to understand what the situation is. So all respect to everybody involved, and hopefully it gets cleared up and everybody comes out on the right side of it, unhurt and unharmed. But
Except,
it is one of those things that is interesting.
Steven Crowder.
Yeah, except Steven Crowder. I mean, there's you can't grow a human out of that person.
He could suck my dick from the back twice.
All right, let's end it there.
All right. Where can they find you, Quinn?
Quinn Tweets on Instagram and Twitter.
All right, and y'all can follow me at Welly Boyce on Twitter, and find me on Instagram at Wellington Boyce, and on TikTok at Wellington Boyce. And you can find this podcast on YouTube and TikTok at Safe Space for Depravity,
and on Apple and Spotify. So go give it a listen, and we will see y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.